Hello everyone, welcome. I am so excited because today I'm chatting to Mundia, who is based 1 hour outside of Switzerland in a beautiful little village. And she is an energy-filled wife, mother of two, CrossFit level 1 trainer, corporate business lady, has a podcast, and on top of all this, she's absolutely fabulous at meal prepping. So this is what we're going to talk about today. And it's actually how I think I stumbled upon her about 10 years ago on Instagram. And she's always just put these fabulous meals up, regardless of how busy she is. And today we're going to talk to Mundia about easy ways to basically nourish your body with, simplified steps to meal prepping. So you can always have something nourishing to fuel you. So welcome, Mundia.
Hi, Dahlas. So happy to be here. And thank you so much for having me and for asking me to join. It is my absolute pleasure. Looking forward to it.
Oh, we're so excited. So let's dive in. You live a really busy life. And my question is always, so by the time you get home from work, you make dinner for everyone else, you eat it, you clean up. I know personally, the last thing I feel like is meal prepping. So I want to know the secret of how you actually manage this in your schedule.
Absolutely. And I must say, even first off, before I start, my husband does help out. Oh, my husband. So that helps a lot. And there are some times so I do have quite a packed schedule. And what I typically like to do is when it comes to meal prepping, so I've set meal prepping as a priority for me. So as kind of part of my health and fitness lifestyle, because I know the benefits that come out of it, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But so I really fix aside time to meal prep, from starting to actually plan what I will eat and when I will prepare it. And a lot of pre-work is done. It's not that everything gets done on the same day, like you do the shopping, you do the chopping up of the, the vegetables or whatever it is, spicing of the food and cooking it on the same day. No, I kind of try to break it up that way. And that way you're more likely to go at it on a consistent basis as well. And you need to know what you're cooking in advance. That really helps out a lot.
Yeah, you're super organized. I know it's very inspiring. But so let's dive into what are the main benefits of meal prepping, from your own point of view, your own lifestyle, and also because you're a fitness professional like myself, what are the benefits you found as well?
Yeah. So I found that the first benefit, which is actually, for me, meal prepping is a form of self-care, because you're taking time to look after yourself, first of all, in terms of what you're deciding to put into your body and how you're using up your time. So first benefit is self-care. And if you're prepping, sometimes it's not only for yourself. If you have a family, you can prep for your family as well. For me, typically the food that I prep, my family is like, no, can we have something else? And sometimes I've ended up cooking like two different meals or things like that, which is fine. But really, it's a form of self-care, looking after yourself and what you decide to put in your body. And then, of course, it actually saves you money in the long term. For example, if you typically go out to eat for lunch or for dinner or things like that, preparing your meals on your own does save you money, in the sense that, it's more expensive sometimes to eat out at restaurants or whatever it is. So it does save you money. And as well, it saves you time in the longer term, because you don't have to cook your meals every single time, depending how many times you cook a day. You can cook it in advance, and the time that you have, you can use it for something else instead of actually, being in the kitchen and cooking and things like that. So especially if you have children or young children, or even, expecting children, you need to be able to plan, because the moment other people come into your life, your time is no longer 100% completely yours. You have to think about the other people around you. So absolutely essential to plan it out. And those are part of the benefits. And of course, you have more control over how the food that you put in your body is prepared. How much, of a particular ingredient goes in, how much salt goes in, how much sugar, how is it deep fried in comparison to baked, and things like that. So those are just a few of the benefits that I can, mention to meal prepping. And also it's an opportunity to get creative, because once again, meal prepping, we have different concepts of what meal prepping is. So My meal preps are quite different. I cook a variety of meals because I know sometimes, you could get bored of eating the same thing over and over. So it's also an opportunity to get creative and try out different recipes.
Yeah, I love seeing your creativity. And I think importantly there, how you spoke about, you get to choose what you put into your body. And I know when I speak to a lot of pregnant ladies and you say being responsible for other people, because you as a mother, you end up preparing food all the time, pretty much for everyone.
Yes, exactly.
But it's also, I think, important because so many ladies, if they're working still, or they'll go out to the food court at lunchtime to try and get food. And then they start panicking, going, oh, is this quite safe for me to eat? Is there a risk of listeria, bad bacteria? And I know a lot of women then during pregnancy end up going hungry because they're just like, oh, I just panicked and I didn't know what to eat, what I could buy, or if that would be safe, or can I eat this, and then and I just think, planning ahead and meal prepping, it doesn't need to be complicated. And as you say, you can fuel yourself and know what you're putting into your body and be confident about that. It's such great.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that you mentioned, especially for women that are expecting. So I remember when I was expecting my second daughter and I meal prepped. So the last couple of weeks when I was at home, kind of getting ready for her to arrive, I meal prepped like 30 meals. Of course, I froze them, but I knew it, but it was awesome and absolutely fabulous. When she was born, for the first couple of weeks, I did no cooking. I was like, I'm relaxing here with the newborn. My meals are prepped. It was lovely. It was really,
yeah. That is such a good tip too for those new mums, to stock the freezer, isn't it, and meal prep.
Absolutely.
And even I can say, if anyone asks, is there anything they can do for you, give them a recipe and just get them to make a meal.
Exactly.
Put it in your freezer, and it makes just the world of difference. It's so important.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, tell us on that, what's the best place? Let's do meal prepping 101. Where would it
Okay, let's go for it.
And, what would you suggest they prep, or, in a day?
Awesome. So meal prep 101, here goes. And it can be quite overwhelming with anything, especially if it's the first time that you're trying to meal prep. You've never, tried meal prep. And there are those who have tried it and just need ways to be more efficient. So I'm going to start from somebody who's just starting out. The first thing is decide how many meals in advance you want to prep for. For example, do you just want to prep for that day's lunch and dinner, or the next 2 days or 3 days, and not try to just jump right into it and then prep for like a whole week at one time, because it can get overwhelming, even just in you gauging how long it actually takes you to prep your food. So that's the first thing. Just decide and say, okay, step in and try 1 day, 2 days of meal prepping. And then also make sure you have at least some food containers at home with you, because you might prep this food and then you've got nowhere to store it and it's kind of stuck in the pot and you can't like cook other stuff.
I know that happens. I've look up and then gone, oh my goodness, I thought I had 5 containers. I got 3. Like,
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So have your containers ready and, kind of ready so that when you cook your food, you have your storage ready and the things are there. And then, of course, planning what it is that you actually want to prep. Because, sometimes you might decide to just randomly go to the fridge and see what's there. However, if you're going to get into meal prepping, I would say really, it's a wonderful journey. I tell you, I love it. You should see when I prepare my meal prep, I'm like, what do I want to eat next week? What day do I want to go shopping? And like I said, not everything needs to happen on the same day. You can break it up into little bits, and also as well have a fixed time for it. Because if we don't plan for it, normally it won't happen, as expectant moms, new moms, whatever it is, our lives are quite jam-packed. And if we don't plan for it, meal prepping is something that you need to plan for and to set the time aside for. And that will help you to be consistent as well.
That's a really good tip. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Are there any downsides, and what are your tips for consistent meal prepping? Because I think everyone often starts out with those good intentions, but I think more than often, for lack of a better description, people bite off more than they can chew. Like, you sort of dive into it and think, okay, I'm just going to do this and these fancy recipes. And then the next time it's just like, oh, I'm just too overwhelmed.
Exactly. Absolutely. So glad that you said that. And, sometimes simple is best as well to start with. If you're just starting out meal prepping, I would not typically advise that you go online and choose the most, complicated recipes of stuff to cook, to get together. Just start with what you already know that you enjoy eating, and just start to prepare it in advance and to prepare it for storage, because as well, there's certain foods that store better than others when it comes to preparing your foods and things like that. So there are all those considerations, and there's no one set formula. You have to try out stuff and find out what works for you, and then get your own rhythm to that prep. Just like with anything else in life, when you have your own rhythm and you find out what works for you, that's like the kind of the key to being consistent. Yeah.
So would you suggest maybe starting with just one meal a day, pre-prepping it, and then how do you do it? Do you normally do breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or do you just do lunch and dinner, or breakfast and lunch?
Sure. So I'll start off with what I typically do. And then, like I said, I'll talk about what I would recommend. So I typically have a fixed day where I meal prep. It's typically on Mondays. And I know either the girls are, one is in school and the other's in daycare, and I also have my day off. So it's like Monday mornings is meal prep. If it's not happening on that day, at that time, then there's no slot in the rest of the week for it. So it's got to happen then. And so I kind of prepare everything out on the Monday, and I already have pre-chopped up my veggies, spiced my meats or anything like that the Sunday before. That's another thing. So I do that on the Sunday evening, chop up any veg. And even if I portion out some things, I portion things out, chop up the potatoes, whatever it is. And then come Monday, everything is just ready to just, kind of start to get cooking. And already on Sunday as well, I have the containers ready and waiting. Not that on Monday I start looking for them again, because now that's time going, right? So really try to be efficient. And so I typically then prep on Monday. And then I prep like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and I even prep my snacks. So it also depends on what my health and fitness goals are at the time. When I want to be more attentive to what I'm eating, I really prep up every single thing, snacks and things like that included, little scoops of peanut butter. I portion it out into a little container here. I have my nuts and everything. And when it's a bit more relaxed, then I would just prep maybe like just the main meals, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then snacks and kind of a bit more freer to choose what I would like to eat.
I mean, everyone's just actually got to go and check out Mundia's Instagram, because this, like, her meal prepping is just amazing. Like, even the snacks.
Oh, thank you so much.
And just all those little things that you do, like the little boiled eggs and the peanut butter, like what you said. I'm just like, oh, it's so well thought out of, and it just looks delicious, and it's creative, and there's so much variety, and it's like, it just makes eating nutritious food look so, simple and easy and not complicated, but really fun. So I think
thank you so much.
Have to go and, I'll link everything down below, but everyone has to go and check out Mundia's Instagram as well. So on that note, being a mother of two, we've already sort of touched on this with best nutritional advice and meal prep. But what do you think are some of the most...
And just when you said that, here comes my young one. Oh my God. Perfect timing.
Perfect timing. We're talking about how much delicious food.
Can Mama finish up her interview? And then I come downstairs?
Pancake?
Yes, I promised her I'll make her pancakes, so she's just checking on me to make sure. Yes, I'm coming to make the pancakes, okay?
And we will want to come too and eat them too.
Mama's going to come downstairs when I'm done. Okay, my love.
You can cook pancakes. They'll be delicious. So tell us, Mundia, first of all, about, I know you've got a meal prepping ebook. And also,
yes, absolutely. I think she might have to sit on my lap. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to sit on my lap.
Absolutely.
Oh, classic.
So tell us about your ebook and where everyone can find you.
Absolutely. So I have an ebook. It's called Meal Prep Simplified, and it basically has simple tips and strategies on how to meal prep. And in there, you really have everything from, where to start off with in terms of utensils, food recommendations of what to prep and tips on how to be more efficient at meal prepping, because our time is so precious, especially with young ones. You know, I talk about tips about how you can start to prep, for example, when they get into, you know, when they take a nap, those opportunities sometimes when the kids take a nap, and that's your chance to kind of prepare a little bit. And, you know, it's not always going to go right. There's some days where you're going to be like, you know, all over the place, and it's perfectly fine. You just have to keep on trying until you get some sort of rhythm as well. And I didn't touch on a little bit on the tidying up part of it, because it does, you know, at the end of meal prep, your sink could be like, you know, spilling over with all the utensils. The less utensils that you need to prepare, the less cleanup that you have to do as well. And I also recommend to clean as you go. You know, so there are those kind of tips that are included in the ebook, and it's available. You can download it from the website. And yeah, I love meal prepping. For me, it's fun. It's a time to get creative and just ensure that I'm cooking food that's gonna, you know, benefit my body and what I'm eating, and it's in line with my goals at the time. So
that's awesome. Thank you so much. And I think that's wonderful tips, because I think, as we touched on, you know, it's not going to go perfect, but it might just be, as you say, when, you know, the baby goes down for a nap, or you're preparing something for the family or for your little ones, you know, just prepare a couple of extra ones for you, and then it will just, you'll start to get into that rhythm. And, you know, for any fabulous tips, again, everyone, please grab Mundia's ebook. And just follow her on Instagram for some inspiration, because you will just be meal prepping like there's no tomorrow.
Yes, and I encourage everyone, like, when you start off, don't get overwhelmed with trying to prep, you know, for days in advance. Just start with the next meal. Just start with the next dinner and the next day. And with that, you kind of build on it. And then, you know, before you know it, you'll be, you know, meal prepping for, like, it'll be so efficient.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is such great.